This will be a quick video tutorial on how to replace the HydraProbe in your POGO Pro. The tools needed will be a Phillips screwdriver, which I'll be using a low torque drill, an Allen wrench, a 3/32, and some tweezers. You can also wear gloves or wash your hands previously. A couple notes. When removing the label on your POGO Pro, you're either going to want to wash your hands first or wear gloves not to dirty the back of the label so it can be re-adhered, or while installing your new label. I would recommend watching the whole video once before beginning this. There's a couple spots where we don't really want to mess up anything. To begin, we're going to remove the label using our tweezers on one of the corners. You'll peel up one of the corners, use the back side of your tweezers, and it should pull off. Some labels will separate itself from the adhesive, in which case you just take your thumb and you can rub it off and then apply your new label on the top. Grabbing your Phillips, you're going to back out these 4 screws. You're going to want to keep these, make sure you don't lose them. We're going to need them at the end. So using your fingernail, you can use your tweezers. Lift up one of the corners. Do this part gently. Whenever removing this part of the POGO Pro, we don't want to force anything. You can take a little bit of wiggling sometimes, but you can get it out gently. This particular model has the Wi-Fi board still. That's not relevant to this video. Yours may look different. Yours should have a little board up here about half the size. If your GPS does come out, it's like this. It's not a big deal. You can just put it right back in with the white part facing outwards. If you put it in this way, your POGO is not going to work. For the sake of the video, I'm going to remove the GPS. Yours should be glued in. So this here is your power cable. This is the cable that goes to your HydraProbe. We're going to want to back that out. So you just thread this back, and it should be able to separate from the board. A little wiggling. Boom. Don't worry about separating your power cable. It's really not necessary. Now, you've got a good amount of cable in here. You don't want to pull it too far, but enough so that way you can work here and not really be tangled up in any wires. The next part, we're going to flip the POGO around, and we're going to get at these set screws down here. Do a little zoom. Boom. Your set screws may be silver, not too worried. Alright, I'm going to keep these inside as well. Alright. Remember to unhook the cable for your HydraProbe before beginning this next part. But we can give it a little twist. Let me zoom this back out. Loosen it up a little bit. There's probably some dirt and gunk in there from the golf course. And then gently pull it through. If you notice the power cable gets snagged and starts pulling in, don't yank it. You can reach in there, you can unhook the adapter on the end of the cable, and it should pull through no problem. Alright. Now inside of this tube, let's see if we can get a good video of it. That hole there is where your HydraProbe cable is going to be stuck through. And that's going to push it out through the top of the housing here. So let's go ahead and do that. Essentially all I'm doing is using my finger on top of the wire and just pushing it. And as you can see, it just came out through the top. So we can grab that part, go to the bottom of the tube, and pull our HydraProbe in. Boom. So as we can see, we got the HydraProbe. This wants to sit flush in the bottom of the tube. And give a little tappy tap with your screwdriver. So now that your HydraProbe is in the bottom of the tube, see, it's not perfectly flush, but it's just fine that way. And you're going to want to put these in hand tight. You don't want to really crank them down. The HydraProbe should sit fairly snug in the bottom of the tube already. I'll just go ahead and put that in there. Careful not to cross thread them. All right, all 3 are in. Let's tighten them down just a little bit. about a quarter turn. It's nice and snug. Quarter turn, good to go. All right, so back up at the housing, we've got our new cable here. There's only one way that this can go in. You can see that there are the holes there, and on this adapter. Should feel a little click right there, boom, good to go. So this part's important. I want to make sure we get this part right so we don't damage anything. So pulling your cables a little tight, don't go crazy. Give it a little twist, kind of like a pigtail. And you can get it in there. Looks, see, it kind of follows around itself. And you can push it in with your finger. And then make sure inside there's a little gap inside of this housing into the tube. All of this excess wire goes right into the tube. If you've removed your GPS, please do not forget to put this back in. There's a little spot inside the housing for the GPS. You can see that there. And it should sit flush, just like that. So our Phillips screws that we had earlier, grab those. And now for the last part, I'm gonna grab our front label. I recommend only peeling it back partially, like this, so you can line it up on your POGO. I recommend doing the corners and the edge first. Make sure it's straight in the back, just like an old temporary tattoo. So, and you can kind of take your fingers and work it back a little bit if it's up too far. Just like that. Turn it on. It's good to go. Green lights. Happy. And that should do it. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to POGO support. We're always here to help. Thank you for your time.